What's going on?
Oh,
One hour.
not much. Doing my normal walk thing.
Yeah.
So, all right. So we had an interesting series of comments from our mass shooting
Oh my gosh,
episode.
I saw. Can you hear me okay?
I hear you.
Yeah. I saw that. Or I saw the ones on YouTube. And then are you talking about that one or the Facebook response?
Well, we saw a couple of them. So the Facebook one was one,
Yeah.
and then we also saw some actually on the video itself. But what really prompted us going live today is the fact that uh, let's run that around. So
Oh,
somebody decided to uh, voiced their opinion on the mass shooting episode, saying that some of our points they understood, but
okay.
the real issue is the patriarchy, white supremacy, and capitalism.
I have to get my face off camera for that. Okay. And how was that?
Well, they're saying that the system is broken,
Yeah.
which that seems to be a sentiment that a lot of people are saying these days. A lot
Yeah,
of people are saying that our society or our systems are corrupted, and I hear old white guys are always to blame for a lot of stuff that we have.
mhm.
Um, and so, what she's saying is the patriarchy creates a environment
I'm sorry. I should
for
not
violence.
laugh when I hear that.
Huh?
I said I should not laugh every time I hear that. The patriarchy.
This is her take.
Well,
She's
is it her
voicing her
take or
opinion.
is it a talking point or set of things that people always say? Oh, patriarchy, racism, uh, sexism, misogyny, misogynoir. It's like all these stupid buzzwords.
It is a buzzwordy wordy thing, and I hear it a lot. And the unfortunate part is from the folks that I do hear it from, they don't really have a deeper understanding of what they're talking about. Like
Yeah, yeah,
they
because I can
say,
accept that. I can if you want to comment, go ahead.
but then when
Obviously,
you
it's your
ask
opinion.
you ask them, right, you get deeper
Yeah,
into the subject, they don't really have any answers.
of course not,
I didn't
because they're
really
just repeating a script that
I
wasn't even
didn't
from
really
them.
yeah, I was gonna say I didn't really press too hard on the lady. I mean,
Yeah,
you saw the comments. Did you?
I did, and it wasn't really that you were like fighting with her. It's just more of, okay, well, this is actually what we were talking about, and what do you mean? Actually, let me go up to one of your comments. Can you?
Looks like it froze up a little bit. I don't think you can do both. Yeah, I don't think you can do both.
But
Oh, you're back.
back, yeah, I came back. Um, yeah, I have no problem with people expressing their opinions, but can we get some people who have thoughtful argument and critical thinking skills, and maybe come up with something besides patriarchy? And so, what's the
Well,
suggestion for that? Like
even if it was, I'm not leaving that off the table. I think
the
what I would
patriarchy?
want from people, yeah, what I would want from people is to have a deeper explanation, because just throwing words out doesn't doesn't mean anything. You're just
Yeah, there.
tossing
Well,
words.
then
It's
there would
word
have
salad.
actually been a. Sorry, go ahead.
No, it's like it's word salad.
Yeah, there would have been like an actual discussion, a thoughtful discussion where she's gaining some insight, you're gaining some insight, and like, okay, we were both better off from hearing each other's opinion and seeing the other points of view. But when you start just throwing out things and you're like, well, this is what it is. And
Yeah.
honestly, when I went back, it looks like she actually deleted one.
She did. She did. She started deleting her comments. But she
That
she
is,
didn't really. I mean, and I don't want to pick on her. I'm just going to use her as an example. But
yeah,
she's the type
like
of
a use
person.
case. It looks like,
Yeah, because she's common. This is a common thing today, right?
yeah,
People are just saying stuff without real understanding of what they're talking about, or what they actually mean. Or I don't think her opinion's fully fleshed out. Because I asked her, what specifically does the patriarchy have anything to do with mass shooting? And she said that the patriarchy promotes violence. And I was like, how?
hmm.
Like, what? How exactly does it?
Yeah.
And then she said that it's because people think that when they are starting to lose power,
Hmm.
they they're using these atrocities as a means to intimidate folks in order to try to regain that power. And I said, okay, but wouldn't that be, because my whole original point was the real issue is the fact that these guys are not mature men. Like they don't
Yeah.
know how
You
to
can't use
handle.
that as the people who are doing these things as the main guy of the main example of who a man is. Okay, this is what men are doing. Now let's blame all men. It's the same as
See,
when
that's
they
what,
had the
and that's where I have to disagree. And that's where it's like I don't see where what I said was incorrect, because what I described was essentially that person, the person
if that was
who
the
does
case,
not.
how do we have a bunch of fully functioning or semi-functioning families with a father in the house? There wouldn't be, because all these men would be out here doing these atrocities, right? Just like whenever they try
If it
to,
was wide, yeah, and if it was promoted, right? Because I don't.
and if it was promoted, nobody's
If
out here
you
saying,
ask
"Oh yeah,
people,
that's what we should do," and that's what
right?
shows real
No,
man
nobody's
power
in
is he can
agreement
go
with
and
that.
shoot people and stuff. Or if you, even the rapist.
Yeah, and that's where I would say one of the issues I have with that is if it is in fact patriarchy, then wouldn't every man be in favor, right?
That's a good point.
That would be right because I in theory should
Like if it
gain
was a positive
from.
thing and it's patriarchy and it benefits men, then why wouldn't all men be in
Like
acceptance
yeah,
and agreement?
yeah,
Yeah.
we all feel threatened in some form or fashion based off of what she said, right? So I should feel threatened because of all this stuff. Therefore, because these guys are doing it, this is something I'm also feeling. Therefore, I should be doing it as well. Yet a bunch of people are saying nobody is in agreement with this stuff.
No one's in
Nobody
agreement.
thinks it's
Nobody wants their family member themselves to be caught up in a place where it's just getting shot up for whatever reason.
yeah, like no one likes
Because
this.
someone had, a bad day or a bad string of events in their life, and now it's everybody else's problem. Like no man is agreeing to that. Or what?
So yeah, so I was like, I don't think that's it. I don't think that's it.
So
Anyway,
strange.
mhm.
It's just so strange. I
Yeah,
mean, it's
and
strange, but it's not, because people there are several groups that do that with different like policies or politics action, I should say,
mhm.
and they think like there's one solution, and or they just they need to have somebody to blame, so they're just like, okay, patriarchy. But my problem with
Which
that is like a avid like problem solver is, so okay, if it's patriarchy, let's go with that. Then go to your step about flesh that out for me, and then we can get to how the meat of the bones of how to like fix the problem. But you can't fix the problem because you're just screaming out one word, patriarchy, that you can't
right,
explain.
and I think what I responded to her with is okay. Let's say it is patriarchy, right? And I think I please correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the whole goal that these people have is that we just need to elect more women in office and have more women in positions of power, and then all these societal problems will go away once we have women in charge. And I was like, if this is an issue that men are dealing with, I don't see how a woman resolves those issues. Because for one, if this guy is as bad as you say he is,
Okay.
or men in general are as bad as you say they are, if they already have a zero level of respect for you and are willing to kill you on the streets, then what is having some woman as a president or having some woman as your mayor or having some woman as a whatever going to do to resolve that issue? It doesn't. Nothing fundamentally changes unless the problem is not actually this, I'm going to say, fictitious idea of patriarchy, because there is no patriarchy. We don't live in a patriarchy. We live in a democratic republic,
I
and there
think,
isn't all just one. Every single man on in this country is benefiting from the system. No, that's not the case. Some
yeah.
men are, right, and a small number of men are. Usually, it's people who are wealthy, but I
Hmm.
think it's a class type issue. But
There's definitely a class issue. A lot of times when they even try to say racism and all the other things, it's like, no, there's a class issue or a class disparity, especially
yeah,
more as the middle class gets squeezed out, and then people are, either going to be pushed to being poor or trying to get rich. So yeah,
but I think probably what I think is more accurate of a description is people are getting influenced to do to make wrong decisions. I think
oh yeah,
that's
well, because
I
they're
think this
making
is
wrong
what this really
decisions
is. It has
based off.
nothing to do with what they're saying.
I think they're making wrong decisions under the influence of those people, but with the hopes of becoming part of the, I guess, the affluent or better part of society, or realizing that they can't be part of it. So now they're just, well, now I'm
They're
going to,
destroying it.
yeah, I'm going to
They
destroy it.
don't like it.
And that's not
So
just the shooters. That's people trying to tear down society, tear down the structures and everything and it's because we don't have a middle class anymore. They're trying to
right.
eliminate it. Yeah,
So then that would then I would go into what my opinion on this is this is a deeper issue.
it is a deeper issue,
It's
and
a
I
deeper
think
issue than
it's not.
what they're trying just simply using buzzwords. Like, no, this is a societal cultural problem
Yeah, and
that
let's go.
people do not like how their lives are. They don't like the system,
You did tell her that, yes.
and therefore they're acting out. And their response of acting out is what I was saying earlier in that comment back to that person was, this is not how men deal with issues.
It's
Mature
not
ones.
mature
This
men.
is somebody who is a broken person who
But
does
see
not
that,
know how to deal with things, and so they're dealing with things in a violent way because they don't care about the people around them because they feel like no one cares about them.
and they're not far
That's
from
not
the
patriarchy.
losing.
That is a emotional problem. That is a societal problem. That hits all of us.
It does hit all of us, and I was gonna say women included, and because even the emotions you just described, I think that's why, women like her are trying to pull a power grab here and say, okay, well, let's easily fix this problem, and we'll just put women in power because they don't like their lives either currently. That group of women who's complaining about that.
So
So
that's
they want to
interesting
change it,
then.
and they
So
think,
that
okay, we'll just flip it to our favor. And so it's like that's not how you solve things. People need to work together. And it's a fallacy to think that, okay, if you put one gender in charge, everything is going to change for the better benefit, unless you believe the same thing as the political issue right now is, okay, if my group is in, then we're just going to do whatever we want. We're not going to listen to the other side at all, and they're not going to get anything, which is, it seems more and more so that's what the feminists are trying to do. Is like, well, the men already tried, they had their chance, they're not doing well, and now it's our turn, so we're going to do it, and we're gonna get all the benefits, and they can do whatever, we don't care about them.
well,
And it's also,
my very first problem with that is the fact that you just said it's instead of just looking at it as these individuals are not
yes.
doing a good job and voting them out. You're putting a whole blanket on a whole entire
Oh yeah,
50%
it's
of the
women,
population.
it's men. It was the Republican, it's a Democrat who did that. So now, just the divide. And I was laughing at first when you said that people think like, oh, it's that if women were in charge in power, everything would be fine. But then I'm like, okay, I I don't want to say I had that full view, but I started to absorb that view towards the end of college, like long time ago, because at that time there really weren't as many women in power, and over time, like over past decade or more, I've realized like, okay, that's not the issue, and with more knowledge of history, women sometimes do cause problems. We're people. People cause problems. So it's
People
that
cause
person, like
problems.
you said, the personality. It's that person. So some
It's
people
that
are
person.
power hungry and oppressive, and it could be a woman, it could be a man, but we don't want to acknowledge that right now in society, that it could be a woman too. You know,
Yeah.
or what do you think?
About what?
Like, do you think people are acknowledging that women can also be bad leaders?
Oh, I think they do. I think it's hard to not acknowledge reality. But I think the problem is they're choosing to sidestep it or try to push it under the rug because
Yeah,
they want representation more than they want real results.
that's so true.
So that's
I
that.
don't care if it's working. I want to see more women. Or in
Yeah.
the case,
So it's
I
like
don't care if it's working. I want more black women.
I
Yeah,
might take some L's, but at the end of the day, they're thinking that they're gonna whatever kind of L they do take,
yeah.
they're hoping that there's more positive than there is negative.
Oh
And so
no, I hate that those theories. The net
and
good.
that's yeah, and that's where you go back to that old adage that said, the pathway to hell was paved with good intentions. And I think that's kind of where we're going right now.
Honestly, I think that might
The,
bring a nice a soft point in between, like to make groups work together. Is what you just said right now. That's not the pathway going to hell, but the fact that like maybe both sides actually do have good intentions. There's bad actors, right? But I think
yeah,
everyone is trying to live better. generally.
Yeah, and that's where it's like I don't have any issue with uh, women wanting to be in positions of power. I don't think that's a problem,
No,
and I don't think that for a little girl who
but
has a
not just
dream of
because you're a
being
woman.
no, you have to work for it. And so I don't think you just give things to people. But I think that that's people always tend to think that if you disagree with them, it's because you hate women, and it's like I don't think you're listening to me. I think
I think that's
you
the
have
part
an
that you're
idea
saying
of
with,
what I'm saying,
yeah, with the
and then
identities. Think about
mhm,
the LGBTQ plus IA thing. It's like, or group, even though they're not a group. I think what you said about it being a net good for one part of it to go forward, like let's say the trans people or something, and so they may not all agree, but if one person gets forward, maybe overall there'll be a net benefit. But as far as what you're saying with agreeing or accepting people, people have this such attachment to whatever identity or group they have that if you
mm,
don't agree, they take it as like you hate me or you hate my group, which
yes,
means you hate me.
I would agree with
I'm
that.
like, I didn't say anything emotional about but about you. I said my opinion about how I feel about the topic, and I think
Yeah,
it's okay for us to have generally topics that we can discuss and not agree, unless you're trying to exert power over me, and now I have to do what you want.
which if we're moving into a direction where the only way we can get things accomplished is if everybody agrees with each other, then we're not going to exist very long as a country because we were never that way. If you go
Yeah,
back to how we started as a country, there was a bunch of people from different parts of the colonies that did not agree with everything. We
yeah,
staunchly opposed different positions. This is why
hmm
the whole slavery thing was such an issue.
yeah,
Because it fundamentally did disagreed on that said subject. Now this is why we have checks and balances. This is why we have a local government, we have state government, and we have federal because a person living in Texas might not necessarily agree with specific policies that somebody living in California will agree with. They also live in different environments, right?
yeah,
They have different issues. They have to deal with forest fires. Texas doesn't really. Well, I guess we do deal with forest fires to an extent,
yeah.
but if you're living in Houston, that's not really a thing, right? That's more of an East
Mhm.
Texas thing. But Florida doesn't deal with flooding, right? Houston has to deal with flooding. So our values are different. What we prioritize is different, and so there needs to be room and flexibility for people to be able to exercise uh, these differences in their own
Yeah, and our
spaces.
regions are different. Like our
Yes,
realities are different. Even just from going to the next state over, or something. Louisiana is different. Like
yeah, it is.
people just,
So kind of to wrap that up in a bow, if you wanted to just dictate everything on the federal level to impact everybody who lives here, you're going to run into problems because it's like, wait a minute, well, we don't even have that issue. Why are we forcing to do this policy that we don't even deal with?
and
Right?
hence the
That's where you
issues
start
with
running into
state and
problems.
local and federal
Mhm.
government. I said, and hence the issue. It's some of the issues that we have with state and local governments and the federal government.
Yeah, you want to be able to have, and I agree with this. I think people should be able to have direct impact in their community. And what's a closer community to you is your city than it is to the actual country as a whole.
Yeah,
And so, yeah, you should have influence and you should have a say. And we should have things that affect us on a national level. I think that's important. But there are
yeah,
also some things that are very nuanced that only really impact that city or that state. That the
hmm
state should have power um, to control that, and
yeah.
people should have more influence there. And so, if we do have these major disagreements, this word that is not used anymore, but we need to bring it back, and that word is compromise.
Oh, I was like, well, where is that?
Right? Usually, compromise consists of both parties not really feeling super great at the end of
They don't,
it.
but each party got at least something
You
or a
got something you
proportion of
wanted,
something going. Yeah,
right?
like,
Hopefully,
well, fine.
hopefully everybody got 50% of what they wanted,
hmm
right?
Which turns out working better for the people.
Yeah, you got some of it. You might not get all of it, but you got some of it. And compromising is in all aspects of our lives, right? It's in our family relationships.
I
It's
was just about
in
to say relationships. I mean, it's
yeah.
better
So
for
it's
the kids if the parents agree or not agree, but compromise on certain things. Or sometimes you give up things, and then one person gets it this time, the next time the other person, it's like, let's do it your way because there's no way
sometimes
to
you have to
split.
alternate.
Yeah,
Yep.
sometimes you have to alternate because some things you can't split up the You can't choose half and half. It has to be a whole thing,
Yeah.
right? Like if you wanted the family vacation to be in, I don't know, in Mexico, and the other person said Canada, you can't, unless you're gonna do half and half and waste time and travel here and travel there and make it all difficult. You just be like, you know what, this time let's go here, the next time we'll go there.
And that's what you have to do, especially when you have finite resources, right?
Yes.
So we only have enough money for one trip. So
Yes.
we have to make a decision. We have to come together and agree on one trip. And it means that maybe this go round I don't get the trip I wanted, but maybe I get to choose a spot within that new place that
Yeah.
we can go to, right?
Oh,
Maybe
that's true.
so compromise.
Ooh,
All
but
right,
you
so
know
I
what
didn't.
that also brings? That brings
But
a little patience. Like if you, for the other person to suppress the want for a little bit, or to be like, you know what, I can find a place within that place that we should choose. Like I'm going to choose some of the restaurants. You have to have
that's
some kind
part
of
of a
patience.
compromise.
Or yes.
That's part of the compromise. So that's what our government is structured on is the ability to compromise. And if we don't have that ability,
No,
then we can't function.
not at all.
And that's what we see right now is the fact that we're not able to function because we can't compromise. Everybody's so staunch
Yeah.
on
Right now,
I
that's
want things
actually
my way.
accurate. We're so dysfunctional right now,
Hmm?
and now, and unfortunately, people can see it internationally.
Yeah.
All the dirty laundry going out outside the house.
So yeah, it was an interesting little note.
Yeah.
Let us know in the comments if you guys want us to do more of these lunch lives.
Oh yeah. I
You know,
like the interaction. I wish I had seen the comments too. I would have, like earlier, I would kind of chimed
yeah.
in, but it's nice to look at the interaction going back and forth, and hopefully, she had some takeaway from it too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you know, I hope people also learn that just because somebody doesn't agree with what you say, you don't have to take it personal. To where it's like I'm attacking you. I'm not attacking you. I disagree with what you said, and
Yeah.
this is why, right? And everyone should be free to speak.
Everyone
I
is
don't.
free to speak, right?
But it's like, but it's weird the fact that if you think that we're not going to go anywhere if you try to just suppress people that you don't like.
Mm-hmm.
We're not going to go anywhere because for those who are really strong-willed, they're not going to accept that.
No. Why should I just not get what I want, or to not say anything or speak up? You know,
Or
I
just
mean,
like
I
one
know
of
in
more.
our last live stream, I was like, if they don't like it, fine, they can go, which is true because that's your option. You can leave the conversation. You don't have to be part of it. But if you want to be here and you want to interact, that's cool too. I welcome you, right? Because we don't know everything. I don't know everything. So I'm like,
Sure.
let's social commentary, get some logic and reason, and learn from each other and work together. It's so cheesy. It sounded so cheesy. Lunchtime live. Yeah, let us know if you do like it.
All right, guys. We'll see y'all next time.
Subscribers. Why aren't we at 70?
What? Oh.